Hi everybody, I'm Ashley and today we're going to talk about our math workstations. I've had a lot of people ask me, so what exactly do you use for your math workstations? And that's what this video will be about. Now I'm also publishing a blog post on this so you can refer to that as well. Now all of the activities I'm going to show you today are in my fourth grade place value unit and the bundle of course, as well as the third grade place value unit and its bundle. So let's get started. The first activity is a really easy activity on building numbers. In this activity, students will spin on the spinner to get a number. So say the number is a digit 5. Students have to decide where to place the digit 5 because the object is to create the largest number possible. So students will be placing their cards on this strategically and they alternate. Obviously you're saving the greatest place value place, hoping to get that 9 or to get the 8. And then with each round, students will write the winner of the round. Now on all of these that I'm going to show you today, there are multiple versions. The one that you can see on the screen just has 4 digits, but there are other size numbers. You can see this one is a 5-digit number, and I've tried to be careful with including a black and white version of your spinner as well. Then we also have place value concentration, which is just like any other concentration game. The fourth grade version does have larger numbers, and how this will be different is that students will be matching different forms of numbers. So you could see they may have a picture representation, or it may be an expanded form. So they're just matching different numbers. Okay, so this is a number line activity that's perfect for getting students into rounding. When I do use these, I laminate them. That way students can write directly on the card with the dry erase marker. And this is going to be all about our multiples and finding the missing numbers on number lines, because I found that a lot of times my students don't really understand if we're rounding 143 to the nearest 10, what multiples of 10 are we even, what are they? So that's what this is practice for. I found that this is a valuable tool for students. There's all different levels of difficulty with this. You can see we might be taking 4-digit numbers, finding multiples of 10. There's even 6-digit numbers. We're working with hundreds. It's just, and I've color coded all of them for to keep them organized, because I know what works for some students may be much too difficult for other students. So this is just something we do to really get the conceptual understanding of rounding. And then after we finish that, we go into another activity, is our place value spinners, and you can see the example here. And students are just going to be spinning different numbers. So they have to determine first what digit will be in the hundred thousands place, the 10,000s place, thousands, and they can go in any order that they want. They do not have to do one particular one at a time. And then when they do that, they are going to be writing 2 in expanded form, 2 in standard form, and 2 in written form. And once again, I did include different versions for you because I know all students are not going to be working at the same level. And I wanted this to work for 3rd and 4th grade. So another little activity that I've included, once again for different versions for 3rd and 4th, are my place value puzzles. Now I do like to print these on cardstock, and I like to go ahead and cut them out. Now I do print 2 sets since students usually work with a partner in their workstation, so I'll do one set where they're all one color and the other set where they're all the same color, just to keep them separated, because I know pieces have a tendency to get mixed together. Super easy. And I also want to go ahead and point out that it is easier to go ahead and cut them before students get to it, just because otherwise they can just memorize it. But that's just a one-time job, and then you can reuse them. And all students will be doing is just creating a puzzle or putting a puzzle together based on the representations of different numbers. And I did print it, or kept it white, just plain white. That way you can print on whatever color paper you want. I thought that would be easier for printing purposes. And then I know that I've already discussed place value war because it is a task in one of my other units, but I thought it was valuable to go ahead and talk about again. And then the place value war, that's where I also like to print this on colored paper. And then I cut these little cards out. And then students are going to shuffle them up and stack them on top of each other. And each student draws a card, and whoever's card has the greatest total value gets to keep both cards. But there's going to be regrouping involved in this. 6 hundreds, 9 tens, 28 ones. So there's definitely a more rigorous element to this than just a traditional place value war. But it's a very valuable game. We're going to do this in regular math workshop, and then I'll add this to our workstation rotation as well. That's always been very effective to me. And once again, I like to print them on different, the whole set on the same color, but I do vary my colors just to keep them a little more organized. And so Roll 'n' Round I've had on my blog for years, and it's still just as effective today. Once again, I like to print it on color, and I know we've mentioned this before. I like the 10-sided die for this game, just because you really need to have all 10 digits. If you only go through 6 and you don't have the 0 and the 7, 8, 9, you're going to be missing a lot. And this is just a fun, active game for students. There's lots of different versions. We can work with 2-digit numbers, 3-digit numbers, even up to 4-digit numbers, and we can round to different places. So this is just a very easily differentiated game for students. And then I also have Spin a Number. Once again, I have different colors, and students will be using a paper clip. I brought a jumbo paper clip just in case. And they're going to use a paper clip I like for them to start with the place. Are we going to be working with the ones place, tens place, hundreds place, or thousands place? And then, is the digit in that place going to increase or decrease, and by how much, which is what this spinner is for. Now, students are given a number to begin with. Now, I did not include a hundred thousands place intentionally because I didn't want to accidentally get students working in the millions place to too large numbers. So this is a great game for mental math. It's a great game for conceptual understanding of place value. And once again, I did include differentiated versions just because I know different students have different needs. Okay, so I also have place value task cards, and there will be a little table of contents in this one because there is so much stuff in this one, where we're going to be finding the place value, finding the value, working with forms of numbers, the size of digits in relations to multiples of 10, and you can see how they're organized. Once again, I print these on cardstock, I laminate, and then I cut out. I used to cut out first, and no, not anymore. I realized that was wrong. And then I did include a recording sheet. We're just flipping through these super fast. 2 different versions of recording sheets if your students can write small. This one may be the one for you, but I did include an enlarged sized one as well. And then another activity that I've included in this bundle is a spin a word problem. There's a back to school edition, there's a grandparents day edition, and you're going to see some with just addition and subtraction. You'll have some with multiplication and division. It's just going to vary. So in this activity, students are going to spin to determine what operation to use. They're going to determine a number that must be included in their word problem as well as the setting of their word problem. And then they're going to write a word problem based on that, and then they'll do it again. And then they're going to switch papers with their partner, and then their partner will have to solve their word problem. This is just a fun way to get students into word problems, and it really requires students to understand the operation to write the word problem. That's kind of taking their learning up to the next level. Now, I know that some of these won't take the full 20 minutes that students need, so I do like to have optional add-on activities to some of the shorter stations. And I do purchase some of these things from TPT just because I feel like it's beneficial for students to see different approaches to the same concept. So 2 of the ones that I particularly like or one of these is the place value puzzler. I bought these from Teaching with the Mountain View, and they're just good riddles with place value. I really like things that really boost the problem solving of my students. And then I've also bought the points for place value. I bought that from Blair Turner, and you can see where my students wrote on this last year and didn't erase it very well, but I think this is probably the hardest thing in our place value unit, so I definitely wanted more practice with this, and this is a really engaging way. She did a great job of coming up with something creative, so I do use this. And then another thing that I add, I believe I've shown you this before, was my place value scavenger hunt, and we use the task cards We use it with a different nonfiction text, so students may have to find a 4 in the tens place. And I do sell this separately in my TPT store. It's just not a part of this 4th grade bundle or the 3rd grade bundle. But this is just another thing I do that's fun. And I keep all of my task cards in clear containers. I like to be able to see through them so I can see what's in my task card. And I just label it, and then I keep everything in a Ziploc baggie. And that's how I include it in their workstation box.